What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's Monday. We're going to talk a little bit about the Scarlet and Violet era booster boxes because there has been a slowdown across the board, basically, in the SV era in terms of price growth. And I will touch on a couple things in terms of sales volume today. We're actually going to go a little bit deeper than normal, looking at some historical data that I've collected over the past 5 months, tracking the majority of the SV era sets, obviously. I don't have it up to date for Destined Rivals because that came out in the middle of the summer. So we're going to have to wait a few more months till we have more data on a set like Destined Rivals. But I will touch on Destined Rivals as well and the all-time high demand for that set currently. And I'll explain what I mean later on this video. So SV Base, this is a set that we've talked about basically every week. There's not a ton of supply out there. It doesn't sell super great, but just because there is a low amount of boxes, it's still in that range where I think it could get to $300 by the end of the year. I'd say that there's probably a 50-50 chance at this point that it gets there. And some people might think that's ridiculous because the box is still only about $245, but there just aren't a ton of boxes out there. And I also know that there's some people that watch these videos that get very upset when I fence sit and don't give a specific time frame for every individual thing. And, to those people, I just want to say that, take a deep breath, man, relax, right? I'm not here to make predictions on every single item. I'm just here to tell you guys what I see based on the numbers that I get every single week, which change again on a weekly basis. So if I see a lot of data points that give me a super high level of confidence in something, I probably will give you an accurate prediction or at least a more specific prediction. But if I don't know, right, I'm not going to just sit here and spit out wild numbers to appease people. So that's all I really wanted to say about that. It is kind of a 50-50 in my opinion with some of these sets if they'll get to 300 by the end of the year. If the slowdown continues to happen, which it's entirely possible that does, then probably none of these sets that are $250, $260 will get to $300, if that makes sense. Now, moving on to all these other sets, I do want to get through this fairly quickly so we can look at the actual numbers. Palde Evolved down, I think like $5, $6 this week, maybe even more, like $7, $8. So a couple percent almost here. Obsidian Flames basically flat, still in that 330 range. Paradox is all the way back down around $275. Temporal Forces still in that 265-ish range. Twilight's sitting around 320, down a couple bucks. Stellar Crown is actually up. It was one of, I think, 3 boxes up this week, sitting around $282 now, continuing to rise. I'm curious if we've seen recent sales. Haven't broken 300 yet, it seems, but October 15th, we did have a sale there at $299.99. Surging Sparks still on its way down at $268, $269. A lot of this has to do, I assume, with vending machine restocks, and we'll talk about the sales volume of Surging here in a moment. Journey Together, $259, down a couple bucks this week. And then Destined Rivals was actually back up from last week, now sitting around $390. So those are the prices of all the sets. What I want to show you guys today are these numbers here. So on the left, we have the set, everything from SV Base up to Surging, and this is from May 26th and then October 20th, which is today, the day of recording. The reason we're taking data from May 26th onwards is because this was the first Monday in my spreadsheet that I tracked everything from SV Base up to Surging Sparks. And I think the week after we added Journey Together, a couple weeks after that. And then Destined Rivals, obviously, when it came out, I think a couple weeks after that, we added it just because it was going crazy. So I do plan in the future to do more videos like this, just kind of comparing the sales volume of every set, right? Once we have a larger data set in the future. But for now, this is what we have. You can see here, May 20th, SV is standing for sales volume. And this is the amount of boxes buy it now selling on a daily basis. So back on May 26th, 5 boxes of SV Base sold in eBay North America every single day. Whereas today when I did the update, only 2 boxes buy it now were selling every single day over the past week. So that's tracking from October 19th to the 13th when I do the update on the 20th. So the 26th of May, that would have been the 25th to the 18th, 19th, whatever it works out to. So there you go, 14 boxes sold over the past week. Now, this is a sales volume percent change of negative 60%. We've definitely seen a slowdown. Whereas the box price, this is the booster box price from today compared to May 26th, this has gone up 14.93%, which you can see here is the worst performing booster box from the ones that we are comparing. How they evolved, you can see 4.29 boxes were selling on average every single day. Buy It Now North America back in May, whereas now it's 1.57. That's a negative 63.4% change, whereas the box price has gone up 56.15%. This is the best performing SVR booster box over the past 6 months. Obsidian Flames had fairly similar numbers for selling per day back in May. Now around 2 boxes selling on average, 50%, negative 50% change, but the box has gone up about 36.59%. Paradox, same boat, 4.14 boxes selling per day. And then today, when I did the update over the past week, 2.29 boxes sold per day. So that's negative 44.69%, but the box is up 30.08%. Temporal, I did want to make a note on this because you can see here back in May, on May 26th, there was 5 boxes per day selling Buy It Now. However, for that week of May 25th to the 18th, whatever it would have been, that was kind of an outlier. The 5 boxes Buy It Now was fairly high. I think the week after that, it was back down to like 2.29 boxes. The week after that, it was like 3.14 or something. So I think temporal for that range, it probably should have been closer to like 3.25. 5 boxes selling per day was definitely a little bit of an outlier there. But still, we're down to 1.57 boxes selling per day Buy It Now this week. And I think that's fairly accurate at this point. It's kind of stable in between 1.5 and 2 boxes. That's about a 69% decrease in sales volume. And then the price of the box has gone up 26.94%. Twilight, 3.29 boxes selling per day. Now we're at 1.43. This is a fairly accurate number as well. Twilight doesn't sell as often compared to some of these other sets. Minus 56.54%. But the box price is up 32.27%. Now, where things get interesting is when we look at Stellar Crown and Surging Sparks. So Stellar Crown, 2.14 boxes selling per day. This last update, 2.71. That's a 26.64% increase in sales volume. And the box price is up 26.82%. I will say though, the past couple weeks for Stellar have been the highest level in terms of sales volume I've seen on this box in a very long time. So people are definitely starting to pay attention to Stellar Crown for whatever reason. Now, Surging I think is even more interesting. Back in May, 9 boxes were selling Buy It Now North America per day. We're now up to around 21.5 boxes selling every single day. That's 139.67% increase in sales volume. And the box is up 16.95% in the same period of time. So normally what we see here with all the red and a lot of the earlier Scarlet and Violet sets, as you can see, is that as the booster box price goes up, we tend to see the sales volume come down. Whereas with some of these more recent sets, and I don't know if these are just outliers, I would kind of assume that they're being a little bit funky right now. The box price is going up and also sales volume is going up, which I think is interesting. And Surging is at an all-time high in terms of demand for this box. I think last week we're at like 17 or 18 selling per day. We're now at 21, so just continuing to push up. And it's kind of weird too, because when you think about this box, and if the thesis is a lot of people are getting booster boxes from vending machines and just instantly flipping them. I mean, if you're buying a box from a vending machine for $161.54, whatever it is USD, you're paying tax on top of that. You're in, say, like $170 or whatever. By the time you sell it for like 240 bucks on eBay, you're going to be left with like $200 after shipping and fees and everything. And then again, like you should be claiming that $30 difference when you go to do your taxes. So it just doesn't make sense why people do that. But people obviously are instantly flipping boxes when they get their hands on them. And I know there's going to be some people that are thinking about this, or maybe they'll write a comment basically just saying that I'm continuing to try and pump some of these sets and keep the market high. But I can only go based off what I see every single week in terms of sales data. And this is what I'm seeing over the past 7 days. I figured it was interesting. Now, I didn't get to track Journey Together, Destin, obviously, because these are newer sets. We don't have that much data on them. But Destin Rivals this week in particular was also at an all-time high. Record demand for this box. And if this level of demand stays for Destined Rivals, we're going to be back in the $400 plus range here very quickly, just because there aren't that many boxes out there. But that's all I really wanted to talk about in this video. I think what you can take away from this is that as the boxes get more expensive, there tends to be less of them selling. And I think if I looked at the Sun and Moon data, Sword and Shield data, ETB data, PCTB data, it would look fairly similar to these earlier Scarlet and Violet sets. If you guys got some value out of this, I'd really appreciate if you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below for the algorithm. It does help out a ton. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Stay safe wherever you are in the world. Have a great week, and I'll catch you in the next one.